И были эти контакты. Я думаю, что завтра, послезавтра будет. Ну, мы продолжаем наши отношения. Это первое. А второе, я уже об этом сказал. Наши специалисты работают в Бушее. 250 человек. И еще командированные. Общая численность может достигать 600. И мы не уходим.
This is my video update on this Thursday afternoon, June the 19th, coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, which started yesterday. And Putin took questions from international journalists, a Q&A session, which started at 12 midnight and lasted until the morning. And Putin was taking questions from Collective West journalists as well. Reuters was there, the Associated Press was there, and some Spanish media outlets were also there. You never see Collective West leaders inviting Russian media to their events, and they would never, ever take questions from Russian media. But Putin, he has no problem taking questions from Reuters. And so he talked about, he answered questions about Project Ukraine, of course. He answered questions about Iran and Israel. He talked about NATO. He was asked about NATO rearmament and if this is problematic for Russia, if this is scaring Russia. And Putin said no. He said Russia can handle NATO. He was asked about Germany and the Taurus missiles. And Putin said that if the Taurus missiles go to Ukraine, then we will consider Germany a co-combatant. He said it's bad enough that they sent Leopard tanks to fight the Russian military. If they send Taurus missiles, well, then that's it. We will consider them a party, an active party to this war. He's not happy with Germany. He does not like Germany, and he does not like everything that Germany has done. He was asked if he would talk to Merz, if he would take a phone call from Merz, and Putin said he knows where to find me if he wants to call me. But you could tell that he's very unhappy with Germany. He was asked about Trump, the U.S. president, and the reporter asked him, what did the reporter ask him? He said that Trump is always saying that if he was president in 2020, if he had won the elections against Bidenopolis, then this war would have never happened. And Putin's response to that question, you'll never believe it. Putin said, that's probably right. He said, Trump is probably right. And the reasoning that he gave is that Trump is a businessman. And he said that as a businessman, he's transactional and he knows how to weigh risk and costs. And he's pragmatic. And we would have been able to talk with him, and he would have taken our interests into consideration, as well as the risks and the costs for the United States. And that's something that Biden did not do. He talked more about Biden as he was answering this question about Trump. He actually talked more about Biden than Trump, to be completely honest. And he basically said that Biden was impossible. He was impossible to talk with, impossible to deal with. He didn't care about Russia's interests at all. He didn't want to see things from Russia's side. He didn't care about costs. He didn't care about risks. He said that Biden was just absolutely freaking impossible. And he thinks, rightly so, he thinks that at least with Trump, he's like, at least we can talk to each other. That was his rationale as he was answering this question. So Project Ukraine, what did he say about Project Ukraine? Let me get into the shade, guys. So he said that that the Russian military is advancing across the entire front lines. He said that Russia prefers a quick diplomatic resolution to the conflict. But if that can't happen, then it will be a military victory. He was asked if he would meet with Zelensky and negotiate with Zelensky, and Putin said, if Zelensky is the chief negotiator, he has no problem with that. But when it comes to actually signing a deal, a negotiated settlement or a capitulation or whatever, that Zelensky is illegitimate. He said that. He said when it comes to the actual signing of some sort of a deal, we need the legitimate leader of Ukraine, and Zelensky is not that. He also went on to say that the Ukraine military is at 40% staffed. The Ukraine armed forces are 47% staffed. He said Ukraine's losses on the battlefield exceed the country's mobilization level. The Ukrainian armed forces are 47% staffed, and the assault units are even less and incapable of combat. Yeah, he talked about how Ukraine at the moment is sending soldiers to the very, very front lines to fight Russia, and he said that all these soldiers are just completely just not trained. They shouldn't be there, is what he wanted to say. These are soldiers that are poorly trained, and Ukraine is sending them to the very front to fight a well-trained professional Russian military. And then Putin went on to say that the mobilization efforts for Ukraine to mobilize 18-year-olds, he said that has completely failed as well. So 47% staffed is the number that Putin put out there for the Ukrainian armed forces. He said there is a mass and forced mobilization in Ukraine. Putin noted the failure of Kiev's plan to take 18-year-olds into the army. Interesting choice of words, huh? To take 18-year-olds into the army. He also said that Ukraine should not delay in the negotiations, and to take Istanbul Plus. Do not delay negotiating. Take the Istanbul Plus deal that is on the table. Otherwise, you're going to lose more regions. Actually, let me find you his quote, if I have it handy. Here we go. As I warned, the situation is going to get worse, so it got worse for them. Now we are not talking about Donetsk and Lugansk, but about two more subjects of the Russian Federation, and Crimea, of course. Let's discuss this. Don't delay negotiating. Do not delay. Take the deal, because if you don't take the deal, the four regions become 6 or become 8. That was what Putin was implying in this statement. There's going to be another meeting on June 22nd. Putin revealed that as well, between the two sides, between the negotiators, Ukraine and Russia. So that's going to take place on the 22nd of June. He also said that a positive that has developed through these negotiations is the POW exchange, and the fact that Ukraine finally accepted the fallen soldiers. He said that's a positive. What's up, my friend? It's hot, I know. It's hot. So let's talk about Iran and Israel. So Putin was asked, and I thought this was an interesting exchange. Putin was asked about Russia's assistance to Iran and the role that Russia is playing in this conflict. And there is a lot of talk about Russia, Iran, this security agreements that they now have in place. Why is Russia not helping Iran more? Why are they not giving Iran weapons and air defense systems and stuff like that? And Putin answered this. Tennis, anyone? Yeah, Putin answered this question, and it's an interesting reply from Putin. Actually, Alexander, during Duran Live, said the same thing that Putin said in his response, which is that Iran has not asked for help. That's basically what Putin said. He said Iran has not asked for help. They haven't said anything about air defense systems, and they're going it alone for the time being. And Alexander, during a Duran Live, he said that Iran, traditionally, historically, is very suspicious of a military cooperation with Russia, and this goes back many decades back. And that's why they're not moving. That's why they did not move fast enough to ratify the military agreement with Russia. That's why they're not asking for Russia's assistance. Is because there's this suspicion in Iran about entering into a military alliance or a military cooperation with Russia. So let me read you the main points from what Putin said when he was asked about Iran. He said the Iran agreement does not have a defense clause. He said Iran does not ask Russia for help, and Iran did not want to cooperate with Russia on air defense previously. Iran fights the fight alone. They're proud and want to be self-reliant. If the situation escalates, we'll see if they will need help. For now, they don't want it. If the situation escalates, we'll see if they need help. For now, they don't want it. They have not asked for any help. They did not want any cooperation on air defense. They want to be self-reliant, according to Putin. So that answers the whole Russia-Iran discussion that is taking place. Putin does leave the door open to Iran if they need help, if things get bad. All they have to do is ask. That's how I take this Putin statement. So sticking with Iran and Israel, let's talk about the United States and what the U.S. is going to do. According to Axios, what the Trump administration is most likely to do is that they are going to bomb the Fordo nuclear enrichment facility. This is what Axios is reporting. They have an article with the title, Trump presses aides on whether bunker buster plan to bomb Iran will work. And according to Axios, Trump's military aides, they said, yes, it's going to work. We'll bunker bust the Fordo military facility, which the uranium enrichment facility, which from what I understand is very, very far underground, and it's built into the side of a mountain. And the plan is to use bunker buster bombs to destroy this facility. And Trump, when you read this Axios article, you can tell that Trump is not so sure on all of this. He's starting to have doubts about military action against Iran. But it does look like he is going to green light this operation because he has received assurances from his military command that this will work. And Axios says that if this does not work, then Israel has a plan B, according to Axios. And that plan B is a commando operation, an Israeli commando operation where they will send a small team into Iran. They will enter Iran, and there's no risk because, according to Axios, Israel controls the airspace. And so there's no risk involved with getting those commandos in position into Iran, and they're going to enter the Fordo enrichment facility, and they're going to go inside this facility, and they're going to blow it up from the inside. That is Plan B, the commando operation. Israel informed the U.S. that if they are not able to take out Iran's Fordo nuclear facility with bunker-busting bombs, they may do it with humans. So that's the plan. Bunker busters, and if the bunker busters don't work, a commando team enters this facility and blows it up. And These plans, you would think that this would be super secret, like top level classified, super duper secret. But Axios is letting all of us know what the plan is, which leads me to believe that this is some sort of misdirection. That's what this feels like. Unless they're so confident in their ability, and they're so confident at the fact that they control the airspace, and they can put commandos into this facility, that they have no problem announcing this. But I just can't help but feel that this is some sort of misdirection. Even if they were confident that these operations, the bunker busters and the commandos, would work, would you still have the mainstream media reporting on this, like so openly telling everybody what the plan is? This is plan A, and this is plan B. Maybe the U.S. does use bunker buster bombs on Fordo. Maybe they do that, but I don't think that's the center stage. I think that's a sideshow. That's the side stage. I think the main event, what they're really looking to do, is to kill the supreme leader Khamenei, to assassinate Khamenei. I think that's what they're really looking to do. And everything that you're hearing here is some sort of misdirection. Trump said as much in his Truth Social post from a couple of days ago. He said, Khamenei, we know where you are, we know where you're hiding, and we're not going to kill you yet. Which leads me to believe that the main goal of all of this is to take out Khamenei. They believe that if they take out Khamenei, this will trigger a collapse in the government, which will lead to a regime change. They will then bring in Juan Guaido #4, Reza Pahlavi, who is all over the interwebs now. That's no coincidence. That's not by chance. This is all orchestrated. They'll bring him in. He will become the new king of Iran. And then what you're going to get is you're going to get some sort of fragmentation of the country, some balkanization of Iran. I think that's the entire plan. That's the neocon thinking to all of this. The end result, the end goal, is to get a fragmentation of Iran. Actually, there's a Jerusalem Post article that came out which says as much, that once the regime change is successful, the article argues that the next step should be breaking apart Iran into tiny pieces. So I think that's what's really going on. But we'll see. We will wait and see. I believe that the order for the bunker, I think he's going to give the order for the bunker busters. But that's not going to be the main event. But I think we'll get that green lit in the next day or two. But keep an eye out for some sort of military operation to take out Khamenei. We'll see. Oh boy, we will see. So, dangerous times, dangerous world we live in. So, Christian Amanpour, CNN's Christian Amanpour, international correspondent and a very sophisticated journalist. I am Christian Amanpour, interviewed IAEA Grossi, and the IAEA chief. He said that there is no proof Iran is working on a nuclear bomb. That is what he said. Christian Amanpour, very sophisticated journalist and international correspondent, asked Grossi, Mr. Grossi, is Iran getting a nuclear weapon? I'm Christian Amanpour, international correspondent and very sophisticated journalist. And Grossi said, no, there is no evidence that Iran is working on a nuclear weapon. Grossi said that yes, Iran has the 60% uranium enrichment and all of that, but he said from 60% enrichment to actually getting a nuclear weapon, he said it's a process, a long process, a complicated process that could take anywhere between, I think he said, a year to 3 years. He definitely said this is not a next day type of thing. Iran is not going to get a weapon tomorrow, in a week, or in a month. He said that's not happening. That's not what's going on here. Something was crawling up my neck. Anyway, that's what Grossi told Christian Amanpour. It's not about a nuclear weapon. Never was about a nuclear weapon. It's not about a nuclear weapon. Every time Trump says Iran must not get a nuclear weapon, that's misdirection. That's a trick. That's a slogan, a trick that Trump is employing. Everyone's repeating it. What this is about is regime change. And what they want to do is they want to take out the leadership of Iran. And I believe they want to fragment the country, which is what they always do. The regime change operations, the end result is always a fragmentation of the country, right? Because when it's broken apart, it's easy to control. It's easy to manage for the collective West. It's not a threat anymore. This is the way they see it. The way the neocons see it is that if you break the country apart, it's not a threat. They can manage the smaller parts and the smaller bits. It's easier to bribe the politicians. It's easier to control the politicians of these small micro-states. I think that's their end goal. Anyway, let's now talk about the all-powerful European Union and the EU. They have a plan for the Russian frozen assets. They have a plan. They've devised a scheme, actually, according to Politico. Interesting choice of words, huh? They have a scheme. The EU devises scheme to squeeze more profit from Russian frozen assets. It's a scheme. They're scheming. I'm rubbing my hands together. They're scheming, huh? It's always good to have these big countries and unions, these globalist organizations scheming. That's always a positive sign, isn't it? You know something good is about to happen when they're scheming. We've got tools, says Ursula von der Math. So what is the EU scheming? What are they scheming? Let me tell you what the plan is. The plan is to transfer the Russian frozen assets, which are in Brussels at Euroclear, to transfer them to a new high-risk investment fund that the EU, that Ursula is going to create. That is the plan. That's the plan. And the reason they want to do this, well, there's two reasons why they want to do this. The first reason is because if they can transfer the Russian frozen assets out of Euroclear and into this new investment, very high risk investment vehicle, then they're hoping that this will prevent Hungary or Slovakia from vetoing anything that they want to do that's connected with these funds. That's the first reason. The second reason is that they want to put it into a high-risk investment vehicle because they want to squeeze more interest out of the 200 billion Russian frozen assets and give that money to Abraham Lincoln #2, right? They're saying that Euroclear is just not generating enough interest for them. So they would like to put it in something a bit more high risk. I believe Euroclear by law is required to take whatever funds it has under management and to invest them in bonds and stuff like that. And that's not high risk enough for them. It's not generating the profits that they want. So it's going to go into high risk ventures, a high risk fund. They'll invest it in meme coins, 1,000x returns, Pepe coin or fart coin or Trump coin. Yeah, if you get in early, that 200 billion could be 200 trillion if you get in early on one of these meme coins. Of course, you could lose it all as well. Oh, man. That money's gone, everybody. That money is gone. That's what they're scheming. That is exactly what they're scheming. They're taking other people's money, they're stealing Russia's money, and they're going to invest it in high-risk ventures. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Let's see here. Putting 200 billion of Russian funds in riskier investments would boost payments to Ukraine without touching the underlying capital, according to Politico. EU devises scheme to squeeze more profit from Russian frozen assets. Politico says, as a potential workaround, EU officials are considering transferring the assets from Euroclear in Belgium to a special purpose vehicle under the EU's umbrella. The main advantage of creating the new fund quickly is that the assets can then be assigned to riskier investments capable of generating much higher returns for Ukraine. The officials did not say exactly what sort of investments these might be. Yeah, say bye-bye to the 200 billion or whatever's left of the 200 billion. Who knows how much of the actual principle they've already dipped into, these globalists. But whatever's left, that is going bye-bye. Anyway, we've got tools, says Ursula van der Math. Ursula van der Math. It fits. It absolutely fits. So some other news, the Federalist, which is the America First publication, no doubt about it. They've been very quiet on Iran and Israel and the decisions that Trump is making. We are seeing a split in MAGA, a split in America First. And the Federalist, they have finally spoken, and they put out an article with the title, Iran is not the United States' war to fight. If President Trump truly believes in no more stupid wars, now is the time to prove it. So there you have it. The Federalist has spoken, and they have said no more stupid wars. Trump, what are you doing? Do not take us into a war with Iran. We're done with this stuff. Don't do it, Trump. Catastrophic for America First, for MAGA, if Trump does end up taking the United States into a war with Iran. So that's the Federalist. Let's do a clown world, and we can wrap this video up. Ted Cruz, he has been shaken by the Tucker Carlson interview. He is not taking it well, Senator Ted Cruz, because he was very, very embarrassed by not even by Tucker Carlson. He embarrassed himself during the interview with Tucker Carlson. And he's coping. He is coping hard. And he posted on X this cartoon meme of Tucker Carlson interviewing Luke Skywalker with the caption, "What is the population of the Death Star?" And Ted Cruz thought this was clever. Beautiful, huh? Ted Cruz thought that this was a clever cartoon meme image that he posted on X. He must have been very proud of himself, or his staff. His staff was probably very proud. This is funny. There you go, Tucker. Take that. Interviewing Luke Skywalker about the Death Star. Do you know what the population of the Death Star is? Luke? Not the same thing, Ted. Not the same thing. Actually, the Death Star would be considered a weapon of mass destruction. It would be considered the ultimate weapon of mass destruction, Senator Ted Cruz. The Death Star was not a country, not a planet, not a city, not a town. No, it was a WMD, man. It was the ultimate WMD. Ah, poor Ted Cruz. Big time fail on that one. And let's do one more, Clown World, because she's on a roll. Kaja Kallas, back-to-back Clown World appearances. And she gave a speech. I believe it's in Brussels at the EU headquarters. And Kaja Kallas, she has now decided to become Kaja 360. Annalena 360 is gone. Well, we've got Kaja Kallas 360. And I'm going to play you her speech where she says that Russia is a 360-degree threat. It is a 360-degree threat. That's right. It's 360. Kaja Kallas. All right, here's the video of Stunning and Brave.
I spoke at the start of Russia's threat to Europe, but Russia poses a 360-degree threat in the world. Russia is a threat to global security. During the Cold War, the United States and its allies far outclassed the Soviet Union, and it won them the Cold War. Today, against NATO and the EU, Russia doesn't stand a chance. But we must stick together.
So that's Kaja Kallas taking over for Annalena 360. She is not disappointing. Stunning and Brave Kaja Kallas. She is not disappointing. She is definitely one of the top contenders in the 2025 Clown World of the Year awards. She is definitely one of the top contenders. She also said, if we don't help Ukraine further, we should start learning Russian. To quote my friend, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, if we don't help Ukraine further, we should all start learning Russian, Kallas said. I don't know. I thought learning languages is a good thing. I don't know. She speaks fluent Russian, doesn't she? Yeah, she speaks fluent Russian. Russian is Zelensky's native language. So, you know, they got a head start on everybody else. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDurand.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfitted X. Go to the Durand shop, pick up some merch, like what I'm wearing in this video update. There is a link in the description box down below. We also have a new collection of merchandise with city names and flags and the Durand logo. So definitely check that out and see if your city is in our merch store. Take care.